if your goal in getting married is happiness, you're going to be very frustrated. Because by definition, happiness depends upon circumstances. Ready? Watch this.
Go ahead.
Welcome to the I Need a Counselor podcast. I'm Ron.
Okay.
Do you need a counselor?
The
answer is
yes.
Yes.
I always need a counselor. Listen, welcome to the Ron&Nick's Best Friend podcast. I don't know how the start's going to be, but it's a podcast that you cannot live without. And we say you cannot live without
because you'll die.
Because it is about the Holy Spirit.
It's about the Holy Spirit.
Tell them a little bit about the Holy Spirit and what this thing is all about and why we do it. Hey, welcome everybody.
Holy Spirit is the Spirit of life. He's the one who's come to live inside of us and give us hope, give us joy. Take us away from happiness into joy, really. Joy is not about circumstances. Joy is about something that you possess that can't be taken away.
We are going to talk about marriage today again, and I'm telling you, thank you, Raquel, for that question that you posed for, or you sent to Ron. We are going to talk about that sooner or later. We appreciate that. Thank you for listening. Who does her own little counseling, right? So I demeaned it when I said little counseling, right? I'm sorry. I used to call a sweet little girl, and I go little counseling, little. Okay, sorry, Raquel.
Raquel
big time counseling.
Raquel is a very qualified woman who is a counselor.
Well, Raquel means woman. Okay. Raquel Welch.
Okay, let's just keep going. Oh my God.
Go ahead. We finish.
What?
All right. I am sick and tired. I don't know why I'm getting these feeds here on my reels or things that are coming through Instagram about marriage. Okay, and
you're sick and tired of marriage?
No, I'm sick and tired of the stuff that people. Let me just tell you one. There's this really attractive woman that says all the things a guy wants to hear about how he should be treated. Okay, and I'm sitting there going, okay.
You talking about on a reel?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you're sitting there, and I got to tell you, I'm listening to it, and I'm going, yeah. This is how you make the man happy. Okay. I'm going, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And then I stop and go, what the heck am I listening to? And it could be a guy or it could be a girl. But I'm telling you, mostly it's girls telling the women how to make men happy. And I don't know if that's just an algorithm or something that's happening to me. I don't know. Maybe women are getting, I don't know. Or maybe maybe men are the only suckers that are going to listen to a reel about.
Well, why would a man? What value would that be to a man?
To tell his wife, listen, this is how it is. If you did this, if you did that, this is what you're doing wrong.
Try to. Okay.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Okay, because like I said, when you listen to it, it sounds really good. Takes the spiritual aspect of what marriage is all about, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. You made a statement, okay? Listen, what you're going to hear today is going to, I gave you the example of Santa Claus. It's going to be like, for some of you, you're going to hear this, and it may be as devastating as Santa Claus is not real. The character is not real. He's not going all over the world putting... Did I ever tell you how my mother told me?
Man, we might have to put a disclaimer on this episode.
Yeah,
this is not.
Listen, did I ever tell you how my mom told me there was no Santa Claus?
No, you didn't.
Okay, just real quick. There was a Santa Claus many years ago, that fell out of a helicopter when they were landing, okay, at a parking lot, and he fell and he died, and it was in the paper. And she goes, "Oh, look, Nick, Santa Claus died." That's how she told me, and I was crying. She goes, "Yeah, I'm so sorry." I was 14 years old at that point. She had to tell me, all right, listen, you made a statement here that said marriage, listen now, okay, are you ready? This is going to upset some people, and you're going to have to explain yourself. Marriage, which, by the way, I am agreeing with you. Marriage was never about you being happy. It was about you being holy. Okay, let me say it again. You said the statement last week. Marriage was never about you being happy. Oh, my God. What? It was about you being holy. And then you kind of talked about the discipleship course of marriage. Let's talk into that a little bit and kind of explain to the listeners what you're talking about. Are y'all guys, is anyone upset with that? Is that like, rub you the wrong way?
Are you upset about it?
Uh,
I
I
think everybody's upset.
yeah. When I first heard it, I can listen. Yeah. When I first hear it, it kind of ruffles me.
Mm. It ruffles everybody. No one. Look, you don't think through the entire course usually up front. That's why I said you need to get decoupled before you can be coupled. That was the last week's, or actually, yeah, the podcast that came out last week. Which, by the way, we didn't even mention this. This is the start of the third season of Ron and Nick's Best Friend podcast. There's some things coming up in this year that are going to change. But we're excited to be going on for our third year. Okay, so what do you want me to talk about? Like what?
Well, listen.
What do I mean? I mean people don't think about upfront this. What is happiness? What is happiness? Okay, I'm not saying that marriage is supposed to make you unhappy. Okay, I'm just saying that if your goal in getting married is happiness, you're going to be very frustrated. Because by definition, happiness depends upon circumstances. And what you're asking a human being to do is impossible. No human being can control your circumstances so that they're always favorable for you. In other words, no human being can create the environment in which you are always going to be happy. They can't do it. It's unfair to any individual to ask them to do that.
And you're saying that when people join in marriage, that may be the thought behind it?
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course it is. Like, yeah, everybody. Hey, why are you getting married? Well, they make me happy. I am being made happy by this person. Like rarely do you meet some. If you're being honest, if you're being honest, where you say, I'm getting married because you make me happy. That is at the core of what you are saying. You please my eyes. You please my emotions. You please my mind.
I got it. Is that, and that's wrong, or is that a trap? What do you?
It's a trap because that situation can't endure. It doesn't endure. It's not durable. It's not durable because someone will not please your mind or your emotions or your eye perpetually. It can't happen. No one does it. And I'll tell you, if you're honest, just looking at your own life, what makes you happy today? What makes you happy today? Is it going to make you happy 3 years from now? 5 years from now?
Not.
10 years from now?
Right.
What is your definition of happiness? What is your definition of what pleases your eye? When you think about just fashion sense, the things that people wear, that you can tell, go back and do some things on YouTube and look back over, look at the things that people wore in the 60s and 70s. I know these things come back around, but I'll just say this: like I've seen a picture of this guy in a powder blue leisure suit. And maybe we'll put this up. It does not please anybody's eye. And I know I'm attacking your culture, but the silk shirt open down to like the middle of your chest, and the
I'm not saying nothing.
Powder blue leisure. It's stupid looking. I'm sorry,
but it was the style back then.
But then, well, yeah. But then when you would, because I had one.
Okay.
I had one myself. I had actually several, and it was a print silk shirt and a open at the neck with a polyester suit.
Okay, so what you're saying is things are going to
they
change.
Don't please your eye. Yeah, and people like what pleases your eye today does not please your eye. It looks stupid tomorrow.
All right. So what's the solution here? I mean, how do you then approach marriage?
I believe you almost can't help approaching marriage this way. Even when someone like me, who does a lot of premarital counseling, says to you, okay, look, This is not about happiness. It's about holiness. Your head goes up and down, and you nod up and down,
Okay.
and you go, yes, I understand. And I tell you, the Holy Spirit is the person who can come into the center of your life and can please you perpetually, can give you, will not change. Okay.
All right. That gives you perspective, which you
Right.
just gave me.
Yeah, but your head just nods up and down. You don't get it. You don't get it. You still, even though your head goes up and down, even though you talk about the Holy Spirit, even though you know the Holy Spirit, you don't really know how much you need Him.
No, the Spirit.
The Spirit. Yeah. You don't know because, listen, you can't become whole, which is what a holiness is about. You can't become whole by extracting everything that you need from another human being. Like, you can't get there from there.
And that's where you're trying to get them to?
Trying to get who to?
If you're counseling someone, is that where you're trying to move them to?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to land you ultimately, if I can get you there, to this. Your spouse is not ruining your life. That's the people that I see. Like, now you switch gears on me. Okay, like I was talking about before you get married.
Okay, I
You
understand.
think, okay, by the time you come to see me, 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, whatever. Now you've realized that this person doesn't make you happy anymore. That they're making you unhappy.
Right.
And so you have to have a discussion that goes, okay, are they really ruining your life or not? My wife doesn't respect me. I hear this all the time. My wife is very disrespectful. Okay, is that really your problem or is that your wife's problem? And okay, let me put it this way. Father, the God of all the universe, and this is the difference that I have in counseling that a secular counselor does not have. A secular counselor can't go where I'm going to go now. I'm going to go here with you. Okay, let's say you told me my wife is very disrespectful,
Yeah,
and
listen, my wife is very disrespectful. She don't appreciate what I bring to the home or the family. Doesn't understand my pressure.
Okay, so you're playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she just doesn't get it.
All right.
Ron,
Now my
I'm
question
sick
is,
of it.
okay, you're sick of it. Is her disrespect her problem or your problem?
Well, it affects me, Ron.
Right?
It makes me miserable.
Is it her problem or your problem?
It's my problem.
Said
It's
your
my problem.
because you have a very disrespectful wife.
Right.
Okay. Here is what I'm going to say to you. Do you understand that the God of the universe, the God that created you, the most beautiful person in the whole entire universe, the one who has the most intelligence, most beauty, whose opinion matters the most, completely, utterly respects you, has a respect for you. Like, he respects you completely. Now,
Okay.
but meaning this, he sees exactly who you are and loves you completely, and honors you to the level that you're due honor. Okay, and calls you his son, which is a big, like, how much respect can you get out of somebody?
I know Jesus died.
Who says,
I got it.
Yeah, okay.
I
So now he says,
and he loves me.
and
Yes.
and he loves you and he wants you to be his son. Now you're his son. Okay, now you have a disrespectful wife. Whose problem is it? Her problem or your problem? Do you see what I'm getting at?
You're saying that his love should.
I'm saying existentially, when you come to the place where that actually falls into your heart, okay, that what I just said, it gets stuck in your head. It's up here, and I can say you are aware of what I said. Theologically speaking, you go, oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look, I have this verse
it.
ringing in my head that I probably need to get out there. It says, God is no respecter of persons. But that this is not the same thing that we're talking about here when we're talking about love and respect. What that means is that God's not going to change to suit you, okay? It doesn't mean that he's going to, what he does is pay honor and give honor to you who don't deserve it by calling you his son.
Correct.
And making you his son, which is existentially satisfying. If it falls from here
From your head
into your heart, you go, wow, I am very respectable. And your wife goes, hey, you're lazy, you're this. And you go, no, God doesn't feel that way about me. Now, what I hear out there is people going, yeah, but they got a real case of the yeah, buts. Yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. But I still live with a wife who is disrespectful. I still live with a husband who is unloving. Okay. I go back to this. Is that your problem or is it their problem? See, your problem is that your wife's disrespect of you is forcing you into a corner where you have to find respect
Mm.
from a higher source because it isn't coming through your wife.
And that's not a cop out.
No, it's not a cop
That's
out.
actually the way
No.
it was designed.
You asked me about the discipleship course marriage. That's how it works. Like, you can sit around and bitch about your wife who doesn't respect you. Okay. You can keep doing that. Okay, fine. But that doesn't make her respect you. It might even make her respect you even less. Look at my whiny husband. Okay. And here's the thing. She might be right. Maybe you do a lot of disrespectful things.
Mm.
Maybe she doesn't want to honor you because you're dishonorable. It still doesn't matter. That's still her problem. She's got to deal with Jesus about it. You've got to deal with Jesus about it this way. Okay, where am I going to get the respect that I want?
So you said last week then obedience is your own reward. So on my side, obedience of putting God as my center and knowing who I am in that relationship trumps anything else. Obedience is my reward, as well as if my wife was to respect me, that obedience is her own reward.
Sure. Right.
Right?
Respecting your, well, what I was going to say is, like, here's what husbands normally do in that situation. Oh, my wife's really disrespectful. She doesn't. Da, da, da. So I'm not going to love my wife. How can I love my wife when she doesn't respect me? Then it becomes your problem. Now your problem that you're not loving your disrespectful wife is your problem. Okay. Now I'll tell you something else that people don't get is, like, I'm not telling you to roll over. Huh?
Just don't worry about that.
I'm not telling you to roll over and go, oh, it's not a big deal. Here's the thing. If you knew and it fell from your head to your heart, how respectable you are in heaven and that you're a son of God, and you existentially felt that, now you can have a discussion with your wife and say, hey, listen, when you don't recognize what I'm doing and when you say these very disrespectful things, it's really bad for you. Like, I'm okay. I know who I am. I'm a son of God. But when you talk to me this way and you act this way, it's really bad for your heart. Okay, now, are you loving your wife when you do that? Yes.
If it's coming from your heart, yes.
Yes, you're loving her very well, because you're saying, I'm not going to allow you to continue in this less than life, this way of living that's bad for you. Now I offer correction, but I don't do it the way that normally happens in marriage. It normally happens in marriage. You're ruining my life. And and you need to stop being disrespectful because you're ruining my life. And there's a whole different place where you go, hey, listen, you're not ruining my life. Jesus said I had life into the full, according to John 10:10. You can't take my life. Now, can I speak to you about the way that you talk to me? The way you speak to me is disrespectful, and it's bad for you, and I want you to think about it. And could we have a discussion?
You know what the byproduct is of that when it falls into your heart also? When you actually believe that and it falls in your heart, you start being more sensitive of exactly who you are. And you said it perfectly. You may be doing things that are disrespectful.
Sure.
Okay. You may start now looking at your life and going, okay, I'm not all perfect. Let me start fixing that part of it.
Dude, that's the way it works. Look, that's the discipleship course marriage, because there's this back and forth, this give and take. Like, am I provoking disrespect by my unloving attitude? Okay, maybe that presses back on me and I go, oh, I should probably think about how I'm treating my wife.
Yeah.
And listen, I can look at my wife and go, all right, I'm gonna take this thing. It's like I talk about in the Matrix, like where Neo takes the bullet out of the air and looks at it and goes, okay, once I know who I am, that bullet is not going through my heart. It doesn't mean people aren't going to shoot at you. It means you can pick the bullet out of the air and you can look at it and you go, okay, I'm going to consider this. I'm going to consider this. My identity is intact, even though you say I'm a disrespectful slob or I'm an unloving fat pig or any of the mean things that people say to each other in marriage. It's crazy how things go, right? And you go, okay, it's all right.
Listen, I started with Santa Claus, and you may hear something that you never heard of before. I want to end it. And if you want to make a comment at the very end of this, you can. But oh my God, maybe 15 years ago, we heard this from our mentor Mike Wells, and I'm sure for some who heard it, it was not welcome. But when I heard it, and I know when you heard it, it resonated, and we said, "Wait a second, maybe this is there's something to this." He goes, "Marriage is an institution designed by God to make you miserable to the extent of your own self-centeredness, and marriage will push you if you allow it to a closer relationship with God."
Yeah, and it'll push self out of the center. That's exactly what he was talking about, and that is the point of the discipleship course, marriage, is to get self out of the center and move the Holy Spirit into the center, where you can actually have life and have it to the full.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Ron and Nick's Best Friend Podcast, a show for anyone who needs a friend. Join us every week right here as we talk about who?
Our best friend, the Holy Spirit. And if you want more information about him or the show, you can find it at www.ronandnicksbestfriend.com.
And don't forget to subscribe.